Um, you get the extremes of, the play's not called until you're at the line of scrimmage and you've hard counted and you're basically got your whole playbook in front of you, and you've got the other extreme of the play has the answers and there's never an audible. And where you live in that spectrum from play to play, game to game, series to series, it really changes.
Oh my God. All right. Purple Daily here, Daily Vikings Entertainment, Mackie Judd, executive producer Declan. By the way, every Thursday, it's our State of the Vikings offense episode. We got 4 key offensive stats. Here's my question for you guys. Is it unreasonable that whenever I hear Kirk explain offensive intricacies that I get triggered? That I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know why. I just don't enjoy him sort of like.
Well, I think it's because you get triggered because he talks nonsense. And I think that's what, like, he's telling you what he wants you to believe from his point of view as opposed to the truth. And so, like, his answers are ordinarily, it's rocket science. So I'm not going to try and explain it to you. And so, like, when he's talking about, I mean, he's, was clearly asked about that third down play and like, what can you change and can you slide protection, which is, by the way, a very normal thing. I mean, this is not the old, I'm changing the entire play. This is literally, I'm sliding guys. And so I think you're triggered because his default position is to try and make it sound so confusing that we couldn't possibly grasp it. And so we shouldn't ask.
Yes, that's it right there. Like that, I think you just hit on what triggers me. It's that he makes it seem like, well, you guys wouldn't really understand. Like, it's really complicated. But then when I watch him play quarterback, I'm like, you're not playing the same complicated version of quarterback as the top quarterbacks are.
Yeah. In fact, so Zimmer was asked today about the same thing. So some enterprising gent, my guess is our friend Chris Long, asked both Zim and Kirk about what can be done here because that 3rd down and 9 play just keeps coming back as such a key play. And here's Mike's response. And Mike is telling the truth here. So like, this response is going to make sense and it's going to trigger you, Phil, even more.
Yeah.
Quote, he has some freedom. I can't give you a percentage of that, but there's a lot of times that he can change protection. There's a lot of times where we're going from a run to a pass to a run based on what he being Kirk sees. So that's the truth.
Why does he only have, okay, and again, this is maybe me nitpicking too much here, but why does he only have some ability to, he's 33, he's been in the league for 10 years.
Right.
Like that. So, I mean, if you missed it, by the way, Alex Boone on the Tuesday episode of Purple Daily was excellent in explaining that 3rd and 9 play that basically ended the Vikings, chances to win that game in overtime, and how Mason Cole probably identified the wrong Mike, I guess, defensively, but then Kirk ultimately has the ability to come up and make sure everything's good.
Right.
And nobody did. Why? Like, why is that still, like, why is that a thing that happens on a key 3rd and 9 play?
Because Kirk screwed up. Because Kirk's, I mean, it's flat out. If Kirk feels that he doesn't have the ability to shift protections, which he does, he screwed up. Like, this is on Kirk. And Mike, I think in the quote I just read, came as close as you could possibly come to saying he can do that. He didn't. And that's the whole thing about, like, I'm not buying this Kirk can't call timeouts thing. That's BS. Kirk can call. And in fact, on 3rd and 9, if you're confused, call a timeout. Like, if they're showing blitz and you're freaking out, I would much prefer that you use that last timeout in OT, which would be your second one, to reset things, than run the play that they ran. So I'm going to defend Mike here. I think on this one, Mike is definitely being thrown under the bus by Kirk because Kirk screwed up.
But we're sitting here and we're literally talking about, like, does a 33-year-old 10-year veteran quarterback have permission to do blank?
Right.
And the reality is the best quarterbacks in the NFL don't wait for permission to do blank.
Right.
And it's never even asked. Do you think the Atlanta media is asking the various Atlanta Falcons head coaches over the years, does Matt Ryan have permission to blank, to call audibles, to change protections, to just flat out change a play. Certainly no one's asking Bruce Arians that question in Tampa.
No.
I don't think anyone's asking Andy Reid that question with what, a fourth-year quarterback in Pat Mahomes. It's a weird, and by the way, it's not just like the media throwing it out randomly. Like, this is something that Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins have bantied about publicly themselves. It's amazing to me. It's an indictment on Cousins. And then the other thing here, and by the way, Purple Daily Vikings Entertainment, we'll get to our 4 key offensive stats. And if you're watching us on a TCL TV, thank you very much, because TCL, in addition to being a supporter of us, is also one of the best football watching TVs you're going to find. One of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands, new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. I think it's such a waste of time, and it's also just an interesting glimpse into the lack of leadership up and down the offensive side of the football, that we're sitting here, not just we, the media and the fans, but literally the coach and the quarterback out loud at press conferences, openly, like, sort of playing ping pong with who's got permission to do what. Like, the great quarterbacks don't need permission to lead in a key moment.
Right.
And I keep hearing from people, well, when your boss tells you to do this, you can't compare this to like a normal work situation.
But
if you're making $30+ million, you have leverage to do whatever you want within reason.
But what they don't want to explain, and so during the Childress years, I delved deep here, because Brad was a control freak. And so I got deep into the weeds on exactly what is transpiring here. And again, what they don't want to talk about is, for the most part, quarterbacks. Now, Brady, Rodgers, that group, different. But for the most part, a full-on audible, which changes the play completely. Like that's a play that I have, but it's not in this play set, and I change everything, is very rare. So like we use that word like, well, can't you just do that? The answer is ordinarily no. But as far as sliding protections and checks, like, plays are full of checks. Kirk Cousins routinely goes from pass to run or run to pass based on what he sees. So basically what they're trying to do here is confuse the fan base with the semantics by not explaining what's going on here. And we think audible is like the word. It's not. It's not. It's rare that a play is fully changed. That's moving people around. That's doing a lot of things. That's a Favre-ian thing. Mm-hmm. But as far as like what Kirk could have done on that 3rd and 9, hell yeah, he's got and worst case, he's afraid he's going to get in trouble. Dude, you screwed the play up regardless. Like, take the trouble. So I'm actually, in this case, I'm Team Zimmer. I think Kirk is trying to escape blame because he ordinarily loves to take blame. I think he's trying to escape blame here, and he's doing it. And he's putting Mike and the offensive staff in a precarious position, because like they would literally have to explain to you what he's doing wrong, and they ain't, at least not yet. They ain't going there.
Yeah. God, it's just
it's interesting.
Man. It's like that 3rd and 9 play. Like, why are we so hung up on the 3rd and 9 play? There's a million other plays. I think it was such an amazing microcosm for what is holding this offense back. Offensive linemen, in this case, it looked like, and this is just according to Alex Boone, who played, 11 years in the NFL and played in the Super Bowl. You got a center who makes the wrong ID at the line, and then you've got a quarterback that doesn't just take charge and make sure everything's good. Right. And then you also have routes in that situation. And again, I put this more on the quarterback. If you identify that the Ravens are blitzing and you don't then alert Justin Jefferson on the outside, hey, you're going to have to change your route here. It's like that play ending in a cluster bleep. People watch it happen and they just think, well, the offensive line's terrible. Well, the offensive line might be terrible, but that's not like the offensive line getting physically blown away is not what happened on that play. The Vikings misidentified where the rush was coming from, the center and the quarterback, and then also misidentified the route that Justin Jefferson should have run. And like, we're getting way in the weeds here, but it's like we've sat here all season and wondered, why is the Vikings offense not performing at a higher level? Mm-hmm. And that was a microcosm for why.
Well, right. And the really frustrating thing if you're a Vikings fan is the Ravens showed the blitz. Like they didn't disguise it. They showed it and Kirk freaked out. And the thing too is, so it is the center's job in a lot of cases to identify and to take care of what Boone was talking about. But Mason Cole is making his first start as a Viking. It becomes incumbent upon the quarterback who's been playing for what now, 10 years, to pick up the slack there. Like it's not fair to be like, well, if the center screws up, it's done. There are control freak QBs who make those calls themselves sometimes too. So yeah, this all comes back. That play in particular comes back to Kirk, but to throw Kirk under the bus would be such an aggressive move that would need to be explained so thoroughly that a guy like Zim ain't gonna do it.
It's not worth the trouble when you're also trying to.
But he would have to explain it, like if he could give you the breakdown, which I'd love to hear. Yeah. But like you would literally need to say, okay, here's what he should have done. He can't do this. He can't do that. Which is why Mike's quote today is the truth. He can do a lot of things. He's choosing not to, and then and then instead of shifting the protection, he's shifting the blame.
Yeah. So speaking of losers, in the end, it wasn't meant to be, boys. Purple Daily comes up short at the Marconi Awards. The Marconi Awards are basically the Oscars for radio, and there's a category for podcasts launched by radio companies, and so Purple Daily and Score North are part of Hubbard Radio. And as Judd said earlier, I don't know, you said your case on social media. I just want everyone else to know that I'm also not to blame. I don't know if it's Declan's fault or Judd's ultimately lying about.
Mackie and Judd have permission to lift up this show. I've always given them permission.
I just work here. I just work here.
Well, it's funny because I get the play sheet each day from you, Phil, and I could have said some things, but it's not really my job to. Like, I don't know what you want from me sometimes.
I know.
Well, it's figured out. FIO. This is an FIO league here. Figure it out league. Okay.
There's two guys.
I just coach the defense.
Yeah, there's two guys in my left here. They play their tails off every day. They're out there for 94 snaps, overtime sometimes. I've never seen really a podcast that comes down to the last 7 plays. I've never seen that in my life. So I don't know what that's like. I have no idea what that's like.
Can I say I don't even know? Like I don't even know what the podcast is. It was like a religious podcast in Washington D.C.
something like that.
Yeah.
That I've never heard of. That beat out us and Garage Logic.
Yeah.
Also part of Hubbard.
I feel like we got beat.
What's happening here? I feel like it's rigged.
I feel like we got beat by the Jaguars. I'm just going to say that right now.
I think it's the referee's fault.
I mean,
I think it's rigged.
We weren't prepared. Now I don't want to assess blame there, but we weren't prepared.
Well, you know what? When you fall short of a major, potentially career-altering award, the best thing to do is just drink some Surly, I think.
Oh, what? I don't know what you're talking about, Phil. Do you mean a Surly Furious IPA, the best IPA going? The best IPA, in my opinion, in the country? Perhaps the world? Can I go world?
The
Surly
world.
Furious. Thursday starts football, and when you got football, the NFL, Maction, the Big Ten.
I love Thursdays.
You know what you need? You need Surly Furious by your side. It's your best friend. Don't forget it. Get to your liquor store, pick some up. You can watch football with the Surly Furious. And while you're doing that, pull out the camera phone. Pull out the camera phone. Take a picture. Show us your cans.
Show us your cans.
At Jay Zolgad on Twitter. There you go. Surely.
It's time for 4 key offensive stats here on the State of the Offense episode of Purple Daily. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? All right.
In a world where offensive stats rule the day.
For the next 12 minutes.
We're without our button bars here. We're all those guys are at home right now. We're actually recording this late on Wednesday night because of my high maintenance travel schedule for Hubbard in a random Sheraton here in St. Louis, Missouri with spotty internet. Hopefully it holds up. But let's start with key offensive stat number 1 here.
Okay.
And I categorize all of these. Sometimes I put multiple stats into the categories. So it's really 4 key offensive stat categories. Category number 1 is scripted versus unscripted. And where the Vikings rank in points per quarter. And it's very interesting.
Okay.
And I think we did this a couple weeks ago, maybe leading into the Cowboys game. First quarter points per first quarter. The Vikings are 4th in the NFL in in first quarter points, which is the scripted plays, right? The first 15, as they call them in the NFL.
Yep.
So they are a great scripted offense. All right, boys, we've done the scouting. We've looked at the film. We know the defensive tendencies to start the game, and here's how we're going to attack. And last week against the Ravens, it was more evident than maybe any game this season so far. They ran jet sweep motion a couple times to start with. Then they run a deep route for Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook gets loose at one point. And so they are 4th in the NFL in first quarter points. Then in the second quarter, they dropped to 15th.
Oh, boy.
13th in the third quarter. We're going to get back to that in a second. Fourth quarter points, 30th. So once you get out of the scripted, pre-planned, everything is situated, and now it's about reacting and adjusting and maybe improvising, and the Vikings go mid-pack, among the worst in the NFL in the fourth quarter. What are your thoughts as you see this?
Zero surprise. In this case, the eye test and the statistical analysis that you just provided are married perfectly. Yeah, they come out looking great. They come out absolutely looking great. And you know what? Bottom line is, final quarter, when the game is on the line potentially, you know what the problem here is? Who's calm? Mike Zimmer's not calm. Clint Kubiak's freaking out. Kirk
Cousins looks like a teeth grinder.
He can't shift a protection. He cannot shift a protection. He's miserable. So I think now there are a multitude, I'm sure, of reasons why they fall to second to last in the entire league in the fourth quarter. But I'm going to say that I think one primary reason is who's calm, who's like in control, who's settling things down. Mm-hmm. The OC, the head coach, and the quarterback, no way that you can convince me that any of those three are like, we got this.
Yeah. It's the same problem our Timberwolves have, right? It's like they take a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, and then everyone looks around like, how do we close this out? I don't know. Mm-hmm. You know, Mike Zimmer's been a head coach for 8 years, doesn't know how to just out chess match the opponent, I guess, in the fourth quarter.
Sometimes you get hot and some guys can't finish. I don't know. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah,
can't really do anything about it.
It's the Vikings.
Actually,
so
I can deal with some bad.
On the third quarter points, real quick here.
13.
So the Vikings are 13th.
Yeah, interesting.
And which isn't awful, but it's very average. Mm-hmm. I think the third quarter is the most interesting. Like the fourth quarter can be weird because there can be some garbage time in there, and it's just I think
not for the Vikings. There's not now.
I know.
Yeah, you're right.
In general, you want to be scoring points in the fourth quarter and every quarter, but the third quarter is like, all right, we've come out of the locker room at halftime, and now it's time to implement our adjustments, and we are now reacting to what we've seen in the first half. And the three best offenses in the third quarter this season are the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and the Rams. And by the way, the Colts are in this mix too, which is interesting. But the Cardinals, the Cowboys, and the Rams, those are teams that you would expect to be there toward the end of the NFC playoff bracket. Those are legitimate offenses. Those are, I think, a lot of dynamic quarterbacks and coaches in that mix and weapons, and the Vikings have a lot of dynamic weapons as well. But obviously, they're just coming up a lot shorter in the second half compared to Cardinals, Cowboys, Rams. So scripted versus unscripted. It's great out of the gate. It's terrible at the end, and they need to fix it.
Yeah, and I'd also be curious defensively to see points-wise what the Vikings are allowing late in games too, because it feels like that's where they're really so like it's the worst of both worlds, right? Your offense fails to function, and that's when your defense starts to choke. So what would you say that you do well here, Mike?
Yeah, and
like
I'd have
the defense is supposed to hold.
I'd have those stats for you, but this is the offensive.
I know.
Key offensive stats.
I'm just saying, both of those things together are a real impediment to trying to win football games.
All right, the second one here is a category called mediocrity. Okay, so last season the Vikings wound up, I believe it was 4th or 5th in offensive yards, and they were like 11th in points per game. So they were. Some people would say it's a top 5 offense, and I would say, well, points matter. So let's not go too far if they're only 11th in points. Well, here's where they're at so far this year. They are 14th in yards per play, mediocre, and they are 17th in points per game, which includes a kick return touchdown last week and a pick six earlier in the season. So right around average, 14th in yards per play and 17th in points per game. God, you go back to the beginning of the season, it's like, all right, you got Kirk Cousins here. He's been in a similar or same offensive system for 3 years. You got two excellent wide receivers, and then you added KJ Osborne, and your offensive line is a little less train wrecky, and they're a lot worse in these categories. Like they've dropped 10 spots basically in yardage, and they've dropped 6 spots in points per game.
And do you remember how they told us, oh, the offense is in great shape? And we're all like, okay, it's not, it's good. And it could be really good, but I don't know if it's in great shape. They're like, oh, no, man, we were a top 10 because in total yards, I think they were 4th. And in scoring offense in 2020, they were 11th. And they were like, oh, we are in great shape. If we redo the defense, we're fine. And we were all like, yeah, okay, let's see what you do with that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, through the OC and through the lack of creativity, they've taken a solid step backwards.
Yeah. All right. Category number 3 here, 4 key offensive stats. That's right. Category number 3. This is a category called red zone. Okay. The Vikings so far this season, I got a few different stats here, are 10th in red zone touchdown percentage, which is pretty solid. They were actually 6th last year. They were the 6th best red zone touchdown conversion team in the league. So, 10th this season, pretty good. It's like, I think they're converting on like 2 out of every 3 trips to the red zone. Here's the problem. They're 24th in trips to the red zone. So they're only averaging 3 trips to the red zone per game. The Rams, by example, are averaging 5. So they're getting to the red zone 2 extra times. Here's another one for you, though. Kirk Cousins in the red zone this season is excellent. All right. He's completing 71% of his passes in the red zone with 11 touchdowns on 34 throws, no interceptions. So when they get to the red zone, which is not very often, and they throw the ball, Kirk Cousins has been money. And they convert at a high percentage to get to touchdowns, but they just don't get, because of scheme and because of they throw a lot of short passes between the 20s. They're averaging, I want to say, the 3rd or 2nd lowest depth of target in the NFL. So they're just not getting to the red zone as often as they should. It's because they're not aggressive enough between the 20s.
So 11 touchdowns and 33 attempts. So basically in one in every 3rd throw in the red zone, Kirk's going to hit a touchdown.
Yes. Yeah, that's just for Kirk, not red zone trips. That's amazing.
Right.
So you're saying, so he's, 30, what is it, 33 or 34 attempts, 11 touchdowns. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
But get your ass to the red zone.
But they don't take the shots too.
Kirky McRed zone here. I mean, what do you want?
If you go back to Childress's teams, the maddening thing about those teams was they would get to the red zone and then fail. This team doesn't take the shots to get there, which is completely crazy. When you look at the personnel offensively that they have, how they manage to not do that is beyond me. I also would be curious to see what the Vikings percentage of penalties in the red zone is. It feels like they back up a lot, like a false start here, just dumb stuff, like not 15 yarders, but like 5 yarders here, and a false start, a hold, right? And that they sabotage themselves that way too. But yeah, how you're not, as the football people say, driving the ball down the field to get there is really crazy.
I want to find, I don't think I can't find it in time for, this episode, but I do want to find some penalty numbers here, because it does feel like there's a lot of just shooting themselves in the foot, right?
It feels like there's a lot of false starts, like around the 7 and stuff like that. That's just really stupid.
I think that happened at least once or twice too in the Ravens game, and then it Judd's right. It feels like it is happening at a higher rate than normal.
Yeah, Cowboys game too, I think.
Yeah.
God, there's so many great numbers here. So here's another one here. I'll just throw a couple more at you. This is kind of a separate category, but percentage of drives overall that result in an offensive score. Okay. The
Okay.
Rams, the Bills, and the Cardinals are all just a tick under 50%. 50% of drives end in a score of some kind. The Vikings are 17th in the NFL at 38% of offensive drives ending in a score.
Yeah.
God. Also, here's another one, okay? Average starting field position. So the Patriots lead the NFL. They start on average at their 33-yard line. The Vikings are 26th in the NFL, averaging starting at their own 26-yard line. So basically, the Patriots are starting an extra first down ahead compared to the Vikings. Man, I didn't find that penalty stat because I got caught up in the other stats, but just a lot of interesting telling things here.
Yes. Yes.
And
They do not. The Vikings do not like to put themselves in an offensive position to succeed.
And here's the fourth category. It's just categorized as Christian Darrisaw. Okay. Rookie left tackle.
It's going to be good.
So he's currently ranked 52nd out of 83 qualified offensive tackles, according to Pro Football Focus, which is slightly below average.
Mm-hmm.
Brian O'Neill, by the way, is 38th, which is kind of in line with his career, just an above average, rock solid right tackle. But here's the good news. Christian Darrisaw has played in a handful of games now, 143 dropbacks, only 4 pressures allowed.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I think we'll take that around here. And I think he's got room, obviously, to get better because this is only his first month and a half on the job.
5 games played and 3 starts, and I think he's played parts of 4 games at left tackle. Yeah, he looks, to me, from day one, he looks the part, which is incredibly important because God bless him. Rashad Hill, not so much. Backup, solid, but a backup. But Christian Darrisaw, from the day that he has gotten a chance to play, looks the part.
Mm-hmm. All right. You guys still got me here? It's got a weird
you froze for a
glitch.
second.
Okay,
You're
sorry.
right.
There we go. Okay.
But you're back.
All right. Well, speaking of freezing, I feel like Judd's been freezing fat cells or something, or I don't know, going to some magical place where they help you lose weight. What's happening?
You know what? It's not the first one. It's the latter, and it's because of my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. I am actually down now 21 pounds. I'm going to weigh in again on Thursday, but I started around 240. I'm now 218 on my way down to 200 pounds. And then the best part is the folks at Livia are going to help me stay there. So it's not just a weight loss program. It's actually a lifestyle program that's going to keep me at a weight, which I've always struggled to do. If you'd like to join me, the best part, first 10 weeks are free. Yes, I said the first 10 weeks are free. Livia.com, 855-GO-LIVEA, 855-GO-LIVEA, Livia.com, and tell them that Score North, Purple Daily, and Judd told you it will help us.
Tell you what my lifestyle plan is. It's called Chill Boys and chillboys.com. The most comfortable boxer briefs that I and we have ever worn. We got the long underwear in rotation now. Bamboo fabric, also kind of a life changer, game changer.
I got Performance on right now. Yeah, I got Performance brand on right now.
So good. All of them.
I won't
so
stand
good.
up, but yeah.
No, I've got, I don't know. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is bamboo or something else, but it is damn comfortable as I sit here at a random Sheraton in the suburbs of the St. Louis area. Chill Boys is a Minnesota-based company, but you can find them online at chillboys.com, and they care about one thing and one thing only, your comfort and the comfort of your boys. Get yours at chillboys.com. Are you guys ready for the random Viking of the week?
Yeah, let's do it. I came back. I think Dex had won 4 consecutive.
Yes, that is correct. So Declan, when Declan was, it was an 8-game losing streak for Declan, and then he rolls off with the help of Ross for one of these. 4 straight. Judd gets back on the board with a Jack Del Rio pull last week, and so Judd has 9 correct. Declan has 5 so far.
Yeah, it's a good race now.
In the history of Random Viking of the Week. Okay. All right. We don't have the normal bells and whistles and music here. The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music, but we'll start with this clue. So here's how it works. I'm going to throw out a series of clues. You guys each get 3 incorrect guesses, and you can ask me questions as well, but I can refuse to answer them if I so choose. Oh, man. There it is.
Look at that.
Executive
Look at that
producer.
production
Executive
right there.
producer coming
Amazing.
through. What a job.
All right. This random Viking of the week hails from Allison Park, Pennsylvania. This random Viking of the week stands at 6 feet 4 inches tall. Actually, Dex, your phone is creating quite a chatter in that
Is it?
microphone there.
There you
go. Okay. This random Viking. This is a high production episode.
Marconi
of Purple Daily.
finalists.
Yeah, right here. If we would have won it, they would have heard this episode and been like, "Oh, we're just gonna take that back."
Never mind.
Give us the crystal back.
This random Viking of the week attended the same high school as Dan Marino and Mark Bulger.
Same high school?
Yes. Pennsylvania high school. Okay.
Thank you, Judd.
In his, how do you know?
Yeah, it's true.
What?
I said he.
Oh, because Dan is from Pennsylvania and went to Pitt.
Oh, look at this
That's
guy
how I
right
know.
here.
That's
Look
how
at
I
this
know.
guy right here.
Known that.
All right, I'll give you that. He went to this random Viking of the week. Went to Central Catholic High School in Pennsylvania. Okay.
Mark
Good
Bulger did
Catholic
not
boy.
know, by the way. Okay.
In his rookie season, this random Viking of the week played in 14 of 16 regular season games, made 2 starts, and played in 2 playoff games.
14 of 16 games. You said 6 starts?
2 starts.
2 starts.
2 playoff games. So he played in 2 playoff games.
He also played in 2 playoff games, yeah.
Okay.
He was drafted in 2004. Okay.
Hold on a sec. Drafted 2004. That doesn't create a lot of wiggle room here. Okay, so okay.
All right.
Okay.
This random Viking of the week was a
Instead of-
this random Viking of the week was a skill position guy. This random Viking of the week. Which clue do I want to give you?
I had you cut out for a second.
No.
It adds to the suspense, though.
No.
All right. Okay.
Skill
I will say
position
I will
guy.
add that this random Viking of the week, he was a skill position guy, but didn't put up gaudy numbers at all in college on like that you would expect a skill position player to put up.
And we don't have a college, correct?
No.
It's a current Big Ten school, but it wasn't when he played there.
Okay.
He caught passes from Brett Favre. This random Viking of the week, unlike most random Vikings of the week, only played for the Minnesota Vikings. 7 years, in fact, as a Minnesota Viking.
Oh,
Fudge.
I've got a guess.
Fudge.
Here it is.
I'll guess this one. It might not be right.
I bet it is.
Jeff Dugan?
You damn right it's
Damn
Jeff
it!
Dugan.
Dang
Ring the
it!
bell, baby.
God
Jeff
Dang it!
Bing, bing.
Jeff Dugan, dude.
Yeah, Dukes. I love
Dude.
Dukes.
You go to
Dukes.
Rutgers?
He went to Maryland.
Maryland.
Maryland,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Jeff Dugan.
He was a tight end that transitioned to fullback later in his Vikings career. And at Maryland, his biggest season at Maryland was actually he was a 4-year player at Maryland. His biggest season as a pass catcher was a freshman year in which he caught 25 passes. Then he caught 7, 9, and 14. He was a working man's tight end and fullback, man. He was a blocker.
Yep.
He could move people, man. That guy was 260 pounds and 6'4" and
Jeff
could move
Dugan.
people.
Jeff
And once in a
Dugan.
while, he'd sneak out there once in a while.
Oh yeah, he'd catch the ball and then
That's keeping
and then
me up tonight.
he'd
I'm
rumble.
really upset about that. I'm really not. I'm not okay that Judd got that.
Jeff Dugan. So there you go. I feel like Jeff Dugan really epitomizes the spirit of random Viking of the week.
He does.
doesn't
He does. Good guy too.
He
Yeah,
actually
I talked to him a lot. Nice
caught
guy.
2 touchdown passes from Brett Favre in 2009.
Yeah. Yeah.
Six catches on the year. 2 of them were
Well,
touchdowns.
The giveaway was 2 playoff games, and immediately 09 and 17 are like the only
And it'd be 09
times in the
because
last
of 2004
Four.
was the
No,
draft
right.
year.
well, no, 04 was the draft year. They played 2 playoff games in that season because they beat the Packers and then got beat by the Eagles. Right?
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
So he was a rookie. Okay, yeah, my bad. You're right.
And then,
right.
yeah, he was. It's funny because I don't know if there was an injury or something, but he played 14 games, a lot of special teams as a rookie, but then he only played one
Gotcha.
game in his second year, and then transitioned to more of like a fullback hybrid mode in 2006. Brad Childress saw something there.
Oh yeah, Brad was a soothsayer.
So there you have it. All right, that's your random Viking of the week. Your state
take that
of
victory.
the Vikings offense.
I'll take that victory.
I'm telling you, that's a kick in the groin to my wheelhouse. That is. I'm upset about that. It's gonna keep me up tonight.
He's going to be dreaming about Jeff Dugan. Just catching key touchdown passes. All right. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. We will give you daily Vikings entertainment in return. And don't forget Vikings Online. We're going to roll on this Chargers game, win or lose. We're here for you. Therapists if needed. Maybe this is the week the Vikings turn it all around. We'll see you guys tomorrow on Purple Daily.